You have been given two rectangles, one with length 9 and breadth 4, another one with length 6 and breadth 2. You're supposed to write some Scala instructions to calculate the perimeter of the above two rectangles. So we start up the interpreter, we get into the Scala interpreter. We create variables for the length and breadth for each of the rectangles. So where we have a val, because the value of length is not going to change at a later point in time in the program, so we don't use a var, we use a val say L1 of data type, say we keep the float option open, equal to 9, and you have val b1 representing the breadth of the first rectangle, data type float, the breadth is 4, val l2 of data type float, value 6, val b2 float, value 2. Now, once the variables have been created, we just have to write a simple instruction that calculates the perimeter of both the rectangles. So, say perimeter 1, which is say the variable perimeter 1, which is going to store the perimeter of the first rectangle, would be 2 into L1 plus B1. So that's 26. That's right. Well, say P2, which is again going to store the perimeter but of the second rectangle. So 2 into L2 plus B2, and you get 16. Yeah. So now we know we've been able to find out the perimeter, and things are going really fine. But what do we need to notice over here is that there is an instruction that we have repeated at multiple places in our instruction set. So calculating the perimeter of the rectangle, the formula for calculating the perimeter of the rectangle has been repeated at multiple instruction sets. Now today it's one instruction that you have repeated at multiple places in your instruction set. Tomorrow it could be 3, tomorrow it could be 4 instructions that are common and that you are repeating at multiple places in your program. So what do we require is a place where we can write this common instruction, and once it's been written at that common place, we can call that place whenever we want to execute this common instruction. Now most of you all following the screencast would have got an idea of what we are going to do is we're going to learn how to create functions, or how to create functions in Scala. So the common place that I was talking about, where you're going to put your instruction, and from the various places where you would want to execute those instructions, you would just call that common place. That is what we call as a function. Now definitely we have an idea. Some may not be having an idea about it, but I would definitely suggest to go and have a deeper look at the history of functions and why do we require functions. But at the onset, yes, a function is basically you could say a single unit which has some common set of instructions. Also that single unit has one or more than one input, also called as the parameters of the function, and that single unit returns an output, also called as the return value, or you could even call it as the result of the function, specifically over there. So that's the function that we are talking about. So now in order that we write the formula or the instruction that calculates the perimeter of the rectangle at one common place, we learn how to define functions in Scala. That's pretty simple. You write the keyword def, the name of the function, the name of the common place where you're going to put all the common instructions, the inputs, the parameters that the function takes. So yes, the perimeter function is going to be the function that's going to have this common instruction that is put inside it. Now if you consider this common instruction that would be put inside the perimeter function, we would expect the inputs would be the appropriate lengths and breadths of the appropriate rectangle. So the inputs of the perimeter function, or the parameters of the perimeter function, would be, say, we would give a name to the parameter, say length. You need to declare the data type of the parameter, so say float, comma, the next parameter breadth, declare the data type float, close the parameter list. Also the function is supposed to return an output, which is also called as the return value of the function. So the parameter would definitely be a float value, and we write an equal to, open curly brace. Yes, if you see, it shows a continuation, a command continuation with a pipe, indicating that now you need to write the instruction that you want to put inside the function body, also called as a function body. Yeah, so I just give some kind of indentation over here where I write the common instruction which is supposed to find out the perimeter of the rectangle. So I have the val variable perimeter equal to 2 into the parameter length plus the parameter that is given to the function breadth, and then at the end I write a statement returning the value of the variable p, because the function is supposed to return a value. Okay, so I write an explicit return statement and return space then the value of the variable that needs to be returned. Then I close the body of the function with the curly brace. I press an enter, and my interpreter says that I have successfully defined a function with the name perimeter, which takes 2 arguments and whose return type is a float value. Now, so shifting our focus back to the 2 rectangles, that is L1 B1 and L2 B2. Now rather than repeating these instructions, I can just give a call to this function. So now how do I give a call to the function? That's damn simple. Is you write the name of the function, the arguments that the function requires, the inputs that the function require, pass the value of the inputs that the function requires. So that's going to be L1 comma B1, pass the value of L1, pass the value of B1. So what's going to happen is that when the function gets called, the value of L1 gets stored in the length, the value of B1 gets stored in the breadth input parameter of the function. So I call the perimeter function. Now the perimeter function is going to return me the value that is the perimeter calculated, which I store in a variable, say P1. Alright, so I get 26, and now I want to calculate the perimeter of the second rectangle. So I just write val, say P2, the name of the function, that is perimeter, the parameters. This time the value the value that's going to be passed to the function as parameters would be L2 comma B2, and I press enter. So yes, it helps me to calculate the perimeter of the second rectangle too, where if you see at different places in my instruction, I'm just making a call to the function rather than repeating some set of instructions at multiple places of my program. Now just on some closing lines, this was a function that we defined specifically, also called as the user defined function. Now Scala also comes with a lot of built-in functions that we can use. So say had we written this program in a script, definitely if we would have written this program in a source file or in a script and not on the interpreter, nobody would have printed this value for us. Similarly over here, the value of P2, nobody would have printed it for us. So say I want to explicitly print the value of P1, I want to explicitly print the value of P2 on the console, assuming say I may not be in the future on the interpreter. So there is a built-in function that has been defined in the Scala library, which we can use. The name of the function is println. The function is being defined the way we defined the perimeter function. In a similar way, the println function has been defined. So we just call the println function and we pass the variable whose value we want to print. Alright, 26. And we again call the println function to print the value of the variable p2, and it prints the value. Also make note of the fact that it prints the value of the variable along with a new blank line. That's the ln for. Specifically, say you don't want a new blank line, there is a print function that has been defined again in the Scala library, which you can directly call. So print p1. Yes, it prints without a new blank line. In a similar way, you do print p2, it prints again the value without a blank line. And it's kind of, we didn't go by the regular way of programming, where the first program used to be the hello world program. So it's now is a time where the logical time where we can write an instruction to make our computer print hello world. So that would be, say, print ln in string value, because it's a string value you pass inside the println function, and your computer prints hello world. So this is something which we did now, as I wanted to go through what were functions, how do you create functions in Scala, why do we require functions on the first place, how do you call functions, and then we gradually came to something called as built-in functions, and then we came to the very famous hello world program, where it was kind of very simple for you to just write println and the string that you would want to print. Hope you enjoyed the screencast. Stay tuned for more. Thank you.